Hey, what's up, guys? I want to share something I've been thinking about. Um, I kind of have this funny way of putting it that I came up with an equation that kind of solves life. Maybe not an equation, but like a visual model, personal visual model. And I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it real quick. Let's say this is me, this is us, a person, and I'm going to draw like an energy wave, right? So uh, it could be like the sun, it could be let's say it's the sun that's giving us these energy waves. I'm using the color green instead of like yellow for sunlight because green, I'll show you why, because that's, let's call the green input, energy input, and then the red is going to be like energy output. Now, the waves are going in like opposite directions. This is kind of funny model here. And then like that. And then the green is going to look like this, just going out. Oh, sorry, wrong way. Totally wrong way. The green is coming in, the red's going out. And if you think about it, this is actually happening. And we don't actually get energy from sunlight. Plants do, and we eat the plants. Um, we maybe sometimes we get vitamin D, but that's besides the point. We're always getting energy into us, usually into our mouths. Let's actually put the green arrow into our mouth here, because that's normally the way we get most of our energy. Um, and then we use energy in a lot of different ways. It flows throughout all of our body. We use it for brain function, for muscle action, and anything like that. Um, but if I change this diagram so that it goes with the passing of time, then we have green from all directions coming in here. Let's actually put it into our mouths, and then whatever. Actually, just to be more organized, let's make it this way. Just green coming in, red. Keep grabbing the wrong color. Red coming out. So I'm gonna make this a bit smaller here. And um, why do I say I've solved life? Well, if you think about it, um, well, what from my perspective, it seems that the things that make us happy all have to do with sort of propagating life. Um, our dopamine systems are pretty much self-interested. We get dopamine and serotonin and other neuromodulators, neurotransmitters when we are happy or when we're motivated or even when we're sad. Um, all those things give us dopamine either to avoid bad results or look for good results. Um, and so green is like things that are happening to us. Red is like things that we do, and we use energy to pursue whatever dopamine is um, telling us to do. And the function of our DNA is to sort of propagate itself, to copy itself, and it needs a lot of resources, a lot of energy to do that. And so, ever since the beginning of DNA, it seems that its function is to absorb energy and then use it to copy itself. And this just doesn't just mean like eating food and then growing up and having kids. Um, and that's like, well, it sort of is, but it's not just that, because there's more to it than that. Because if this green is like an overload, uh, and if you think about it, we kind of do collect a lot of stuff. We hoard things, we grab things, we own something. Like if we got like a stick in an open field, we can grab the stick, grab it in our hands, and say, "This is mine." And so we as humans, you can say what you want about capitalism, but I do believe ownership is a thing, because if you're holding the stick, and someone else tries to take the stick from you, you could hit them with the stick and be like, "No, this is mine." So you can be protective of your own possessions. So we hoard things. Could and a stick in the field is a very primitive example. Now we have money, we have energy, we have furniture, all sorts of things, and that can all be described as this green wave here coming into us, and we hoard it, and then we store it in our body, so our body can sort of store all this green. Let's say that this green line here, that's the energy stored in our bodies, and all the red is expenditure. So oftentimes, and most of the time, we will spend less than we own, and that's kind of a good thing. So that means you have extra energy to use, and what you can use that for is making more life. Now, I could say that you could turn it into another person, and this could mean a lot of things. This could be like having a kid, or it could be giving what you own to someone else. Um, and because what the thing is, the body can only store so much. Like you cannot overload the body so that it's like, it's going to radiate out somewhere because the body has a limited storage. Um, and let's say you store the energy as money, that you gain possessions, and you trade your labor for money or whatever, and you're storing it. And if that money is just sitting there, it's not doing anything, then it is kind of meaningless. The money has to be spent somewhere. The money has to be I don't know, invested somewhere or traded somewhere. um, but if it's money just sitting, it's just kind of in your head. The value of money comes from people having faith that it has actual value, um, at least with fiat currency, that is. But anyway, uh, we store energy and we have to expend it, and it feels like it's a pretty good thing to give it to other people, or we can expend energy to like make things like plant. Let's make a little plant here. Let's just make it a little leaf, or let's use a dark green leaf. It could, because it could mean a lot of things. What we're doing is just propagating life here. It could be also, let's make a dog. That's my dog right there. And so to me, this little funny diagram is sort of the meaning of life. And um, the reason I want to put it into an equation, because if you think about it, what I drew here with the green and red literally is just all the elements of E equals mc squared. Energy, mass, and then speed of light. This is like it's a whole thing about physics that I don't really want to get into right now. But energy and mass are within this equation, E equals mc squared. So like we collect those things, energy and mass stored in our bodies in the form of food or whatever. Um, and it's almost as if like all the things we do in life can be derived from the elements in this. And of course, there's a standard model of quantum physics where there's like protons and neutrons and all these other sorts of particles, gluons and muons and fermions, etc. But everything is sort of consisted in here. And so this is just something I've been thinking about a lot because like there's a large set of problems that we can solve. Um, the problems are sort of emergent from a really more basic model. Because if you think about it, what really are we deep down? Where we have this shape of DNA, and then inside the DNA is basically computer code. Think about it. That's code. And what the code is doing is deterministically, um, uh, doing what it does after it gathers energy. It has the energy to take action, then it just does the action. And our human brains are built from that DNA. And this is just something I've really been thinking about a lot. I've that uh, Another thing I ran into lately was the P equals NP problem, which is a computation problem. Um, it's a math problem. One of the things I'm really interested in, not only because it's a very fascinating problem, which sort of relates to things that I'm actually interested in, but it has $1 million bounty on it, which is kind of funny. I just learned that there are 7 math problems with $1 million bounty on them. That if you solve any one of them, you'll get $1 million from like a certain organization, university or something. I don't think I think I could possibly solve it. I'd have no background in math. Of course, I have to run the computation. I have to run calculations and do the proof. Really, it's not about calculations with a concept like that. I think it's a proof. But I think solving that proof is sort of related to physics because for P equals NP to even be um, like to think about it, and how computation works. Computation is something that happens over time, and for some reason, because it happens over time, I believe that the problem itself might be related to space time and how waves, for photons, for energy, the waves themselves don't experience time. Um, so I don't know. This is just also I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about like what is a Fourier transform, the, like something called bifurcation, like all these things like fractals, fractal reality, critical limit theorem. I kind of want to write these all down. So there's like um, there's E equals mc squared. There's also criticality or critical limit theorem. There's bifurcation, and then there's P equals NP, a computation problem that needs to be solved. I have a feeling that they're all related, um, and this is just something I'm going to explore. But for now, all those problems aside, I'm going to leave you guys with the diagram. I'm going to draw it one more time so I can just remember it for myself. Because at its core, it's just this, that we gather a lot of energy, infinite energy always being shot at us by the sun, and the universe in general goes inside us. We store it, and we need to use that energy for something, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And I believe that if we use the energy for more life, then it is good. It could be a leaf. I don't really need the leaf, but it could even be described like this. Well, one more time. If we do it one more time, there's a lot of energy because life is not just humans, right? I think that I think if we, give it towards humans, then that's good. We're in that way we're in a sense self-serving, self-serving as a group, as a species. But I think more accurately it can be described as DNA. DNA is the thing. Let's try to get a nice. Isn't it nice that DNA makes a spiral pattern, which is kind of similar to the sines and cosines and like waves. That's interesting. I wonder if that's related in any way, or if it just happens to be the most efficient structure of DNA. I just think it's beautiful that it looks like a sine wave. Um, and then that energy flows through, creates more DNA. Now, of course, how does this manifest itself in our actions? It's just really like, I don't know, just create more life. Just think of what it means to create more life. It could be to increase the quality of life of yourself, of the people around you, to plant gardens, to build homes, um, to take everything you own, all the energy in your body, and all the money you have. Like once you've already sustained yourself, like you yourself have a standard of living, but once it is kind of reached and you reach a feeling of contentment, which honestly most people might not ever reach. Like most people maybe most people might be a stretch, but there's a lot of people who feel that they won't be satisfied or yeah, something like that, and they just need more for themselves, and so they keep storing and storing and storing, or maybe they just their cup that we would in Christianity we like to describe it as your cup has been filled, of happiness, your cup of contentment, your cup of joy has been filled, and then once your cup is filled, you can fill other people's cups. That's kind of what I'm describing here, but through a more scientific diagram. Um, so yeah, that red arrow is really important because that's like the things that we decide to do. Um, and really, this part right here, again, assuming the flow of time is from left to right, this could be anything. This could be destruction. This could be destroying the world if you really want to, destroying other people. Um, I think The question mark is an even better diagram because it's more generalized. Now this one here, this is good, but this is neutral. This is like, what are you gonna do? You know, it's really silly and it feels like kind of it kind of feels oversimplified. It feels like common sense, but at the same time, this diagram really works for me lately. This train of thought really works for me. It makes a lot of sense because it doesn't work just in the context of human life. Or maybe it is. Maybe our brains are just computers that observe a reality where time doesn't exist at all, and we just create time with our brains. That's like arguable. But anyway, I think that when I look at it this way, you can sort of start seeing the world as the Matrix almost. You can see the source code happening. Um, like I can almost see sort of the waves flowing around me. Um, and it makes me think, because if you think about this equation, it can be very, very efficiently optimized. And I love just the idea of optimization. And it makes me um, think about like the minutia of my life from my long-term plans to like very, very short-term immediate things that I could do in the moment, like to my breathing and blinking, like very, very tiny things can be optimized. And it's all sort of described by this. So I don't really know if anyone relates to this. I'm going to call this version one because I'm still gathering these thoughts. But once I consolidate the thoughts and just think about it and sleep on it, I'm going to try to come up with a better way of explaining it. As you can hear now, my son is starting to fuss a little bit. He's probably getting hungry. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.